Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 chat. Today we're here to discuss the future of Nyck De Vries, his underperformance in Formula 1 so far, and who should replace him. Now, not necessarily saying he should be dropped, but we will discuss sort of replacements. But I think it's good to start with the story so far. So Nyck De Vries, of course, came into Formula 1 as a direct replacement for Pierre Gasly, who went to Alpine because Alonso does stuff. The Alonso effect caused all of this, and that ripple effect causes Nyck De Vries to get a Formula 1 seat. Do you think he merited that seat in the first place? Because a lot of people saying that potentially he should never have been signed. I think there's a lot of hype when he did join Alpha Tauri. Do you think he'd done enough in his career to merit an F1 seat?
I mean, I think he do. I really think he has. I think F2. He was brilliant, but never got the step up.
That was a weak field though. Latifi was second that year, and look at him.
Yeah, but you still have to win.
Still a good driver.
And obviously from that, he then went into Formula E, and after a couple of seasons there, he became the first Formula E world champion. Which I mean, yes, it's Formula E. It's just electric.
It's also I was gonna say it's also like going straight from karting to F1, but he's still won in a respectable series. And there's other competitors in there who have been in Formula 1, exactly, who have been in the upper echelons of the feeder series. So I think this Formula E gets disrespected. I mean, we've seen brilliant racing at Monaco last weekend, which you'd never see in F1. That's whole other topic for another day. But I do think he's proven he's very quick.
My only thing with Formula E is, yes, he was quick, but also the main thing with Formula E is management. It's not necessarily about how fast you can go. It's about how you can also manage your energy levels
and how efficient your car is.
Exactly. In terms of tap rate, he was in a very quick car. That Mercedes EQ was very.
And while they're all equal, they're not.
No,
it's like F2. Exactly. They've got they're not supposed to be equal. They've got spec parts, but then obviously you can develop around that, such as the regen. You can find advantages there. But
no, I mean, he won that, and then he got a one-off race. He came in the emergency
Monza
substitute
because
for Williams,
Albon had appendicitis,
and he picked up a point. And I think Alpha Tauri probably looked at that and went, he's a Formula E world champion. He picked up points on his debut in Formula 1, despite never driving a Formula 1 car in a race before.
Yeah.
And they probably went, let's give him a shot. It was a gamble.
I think they always viewed him, though, as a second option, because we know that they had a deal in place with Colton Herta, but he was not granted a super license. So I don't know. I don't think he was ever their first choice. They probably would have wanted one of their Red Bull juniors to come through, but none of them did anything.
Yeah.
Jehan Daruvala was nowhere near the championship. Dennis Hauger struggled in his first year. Ayumu Iwasa, well, it was his first season. He didn't win it.
Yeah, if you look at that F2 pecking order, the best that year, last year, from probably Liam Lawson, and he wasn't great.
Well, exactly. Liam Lawson just sort of benefited. He got a couple of feature race victories in there, but I do think he'd probably have done better than Nyck De Vries at this point. I don't think that's too controversial.
I mean, he's obviously done testing in the Red Bull and Alpha Tauri over the course of last season, and Nyck De Vries had never been involved with either team. So it was a bit of. I feel like it was a bit weird when you have someone like Liam Lawson who's been involved with the main Red Bull team and the junior team. Yeah. And then you go and get a random driver.
It seems like they wanted that Dutch partnership, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They wanted that Verstappen and De Vries, because I reckon they viewed him as a long-term replacement for Perez. He's 27, short-term replacement for Perez. They knew Perez was probably going to want to fight for championships because he's in that sort of position. They know De Vries is probably, they would have presumed he's good enough and to be a second driver, so they would then fast-track him up to the main team and then go from there. But it seems more likely that Yuki Tsunoda would get that second seat. I think Yuki's incredibly quick though, and that's the problem Red Bull would have is that Yuki Tsunoda could definitely challenge Verstappen, but De Vries is not going to challenge anyone at the moment because he can't keep it out of the wall. Should we talk about his struggles?
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Well, exactly.
You mentioned there. We'll talk about Baku. Just kept hitting walls.
Yeah, you can probably start. Well, we'll start chronologically because that makes the most sense.
Well, yeah.
Bahrain, it was an understated weekend, I'd say, for De Vries. I didn't really see him,
and that's the problem.
I can't think of anything of note that happened.
On the top of my head, apart from Azerbaijan, every single race has been the same, and it's just been him going round at the back.
Well, Miami, he decided to smash into the back of Lando at the start,
and then double the back.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Logan Sargent.
Jeddah, zero recollection of him even existing. I think he was so far off the pace. but I might be wrong.
Yeah.
He's been out qualified by Yuki in 4 of the 5 races. Only the most recent one at Miami, he out qualified.
Miami was probably his best weekend.
And in terms of quali, and he ended up behind Yuki within a lap.
Still went into the back of Lando. That was his best weekend.
I know.
But I mean, yeah, it's mistakes, it's no pace, and I think it's the massive disparity between him and Tsunoda. And obviously, Tsunoda's in his 3rd year. De Vries is coming as a debutant.
But that's the thing, though.
You can't be that far off your teammate.
De Vries isn't a normal rookie.
No.
De Vries is not coming from Formula 2. He's a 27-year-old with 5 years experience in motorsports. 5 years experience in Formula E, Formula 2, those sort of categories. He's been around a while now.
I mean, he's a point scorer in Formula 1.
Exactly that. So I don't think he can be judged the same. That, we look at Logan Sargent so far. He's not had a perfect season. I don't think that's harsh to say. I'd look at Oscar Piastri. He's had quite a decent season, but those two would have been handed a lot more leniency, a lot more time, given the fact they are debutants in the series. They're drivers that have very limited experience.
Came third? He came third in the Formula 2 Championship, and already this season he's got into Q2. One more time, more than De Vries has.
Yeah, Nyck De Vries has struggled a lot, and
just because
Red Bull not patient.
And I think Tsunoda proves that it's not the car. The car isn't great.
Well, I don't know. There's 3 scenarios here, and they all reflect well on Yuki. Either the car is good and Nyck De Vries is underperforming, the car is mediocre, De Vries is underperforming and Yuki's overperforming, or the car is horrendous, De Vries is on pace and Yuki's absolutely smashing it.
If I had to give one, I'd go the middle option. I'd say it's probably a bit mediocre, but Yuki's dragging it near the points and De Vries is dragging it down.
That seems to be the most logical. Because I don't think that Alpha Tauri is the worst car on the grid.
No.
Because at the end of the day, it's still a mini Red Bull.
Yeah, it is. It has got that Red Bull powertrain.
Exactly. So I just don't see how it could be the slowest car. I definitely don't think it's top of the midfield, though.
No, I don't.
Definitely not. Look at Miami, for example.
They're all rubbish.
They rotate round, which is quite a nice thing. It's the only place in the group who've got any variation.
The only team that hasn't really rotated round is Williams.
I'd say Alpine are probably top of the midfield.
Yeah.
That 15 right now. But they don't score points because they smash into each other at Australia.
And you have a constant carousel of McLaren, Williams, Haas, Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I think McLaren will slip below Alpine at some point in this championship. Unless Alpine keep crashing into each other. But
There's no way McLaren are going to finish anywhere near anyone.
But yeah, then the big question on everyone's lips, should Nyck De Vries be dropped? Because we have got an official thing from Helmut Marko, which we'll get into in just a second. But in your opinion, should De Vries be dropped?
I would give him... Right now, I wouldn't drop him at the half season.
Oh.
But obviously we've got a few races to go. We're getting into the European leg of the calendar. And if he stays where he is, then I think you just stick with it. If it gets worse, I don't really know how that happens, but if it does, I think you have to drop him. Because I never think bringing in a driver midway through a season is a great idea anyway.
Well, do you think half season is harsh? Helmut Marko has given Nyck De Vries a 3-race ultimatum, apparently. Imola, Monaco and Spain, and then you can tear up a contract whenever you want to tear up a contract.
That's terrible for a rate, not terrible.
But it makes complete sense for De Vries.
To be fair...
They're 2 tracks that have been tested at loads.
Yeah.
And then Monaco, where he literally has raced the last few years in Formula E. That's a track he should do well at.
He takes the racecraft, because you have to be very aware in Formula E Monaco, because you never know what's going to happen when Andre Lotta
Lotta is literally on top of me.
But you have to... Maybe you can take that racecraft. I think he's a good driver, I just don't know what... He just hasn't clicked at all. He just hasn't shown any pace.
But Monaco's a big testing point, because if he can put in a good lap... If he doesn't get spooked by the thought of Sam Bird being lurking around a corner, then maybe he'll be able to put in a good lap.
I'd take car with cut out and just keep taking places.
Just be terrified. But yeah, apparently 3-race ultimatum. Helmut Marko has come out in the media and said that they've given him a yellow card, but not the red card.
Lovely.
And I was just like, what's going on?
This bloke, he just talks so much rubbish.
Yeah. They did say one interesting thing this week, though, and it's a completely separate point, but he did say he wants Sebastian Vettel to take over from him. In his role at Red Bull. Which would be a nice way to see Seb back.
So he's not going to live forever?
No,
so isn't actually
I think he might be. I think Helmut might be immortal. I don't think he's a robot. I think he might just be a vampire. Drinks the blood of any Red Bull juniors who don't make it to F1.
To be fair, I haven't seen Kvyat in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Where's he gone? Where's Brendan Hartley gone?
God, I forgot he was a racing driver.
But yeah, if he is to be dropped then, we have 3 drivers on the board who have been linked with that Alpha Tauri seat. Who do you think should replace him? The first of which, Daniel Ricciardo. This has already been ruled out, though.
Good.
Would this have been your choice, or because you're a biased Daniel Rick fan, or would you say he doesn't?
I love Daniel Ricciardo, but I just don't.
But you love Liam Lawson more?
No, it would just... I just don't know. Red Bull Reserve drive... I think Red Bull Reserve drive is better. I just don't think it would work.
I don't think Daniel jumping in halfway through a season is a great idea right now. I think it'd be better if he builds his confidence back up in that Red Bull team.
I think from a Red Bull point of view, I wouldn't bring in the senior team's backup driver. I would look to the plethora of talent you've got in your feeder series, in your academy, across several different modes.
Do you think there's a chance of Ricciardo return in F1 at all? And where would you see that?
I'd love it, but I just don't know where.
Could you see Checo Perez, if he causes as many issues as he is at the moment?
I don't think
Could there be a vacancy at Red Bull?
Quick enough. He'd have to prove something.
They don't want the quick. They want someone that's not going to fight Max and still bring home second.
But he's not going to bring home second.
He probably would.
In that Red Bull car,
I think the McLaren era of Daniel Ricciardo is what's the word? Dampening everyone's expectations. He is a magnificent driver.
He is, and he did win a race in that McLaren, and that was, that was one of the best days of my life. But it was, I just don't know.
I just wonder what would have happened had Daniel Ricciardo never left Renault. Which could be a great video, by the way.
McLaren movies clicked, because I think him and Lando would probably... I think they could have they would have challenged for more wins. I really think they would have. Between the two of them, if they're both up their course, but I think Daniel is
they probably could have got another win if Lando Norris hadn't bottled in Russia.
Daniel Ricciardo is a very capable driver.
Yeah, but Alpha Tauri is not the gig for him.
He's better than that.
So then there are 2 drivers who are on red alert. Liam Lawson, currently tearing it up in the Japanese Super Formula. And then Ayumu Iwasa, the young Japanese racer, currently killing it in Formula 2. Who'd be your preferred option at the moment?
I would go Lawson. And this is
pure bias. Go on.
It's not, because there's a few reasons here. A, as I said, he's been involved with he's involved with the team a lot. Compared to Iwasa, Lawson's tested in the car. He's done FP1 sessions in both the Red Bull and the Alpha Tauri. The team know him well. He's a little bit older, a little more experienced. I
wouldn't take my reasoning against Iwasa is I wouldn't take him out of the middle of an F2 campaign.
That's my next reason. Liam Lawson can leave it. He doesn't care about winning a Super Formula Championship if he gets a chance in Formula 1.
I would give Lawson the second half of the season, and then if he doesn't perform, bring in Iwasa.
From a Red Bull point of view, you've got to look at it and go, Iwasa's going to win the Formula 2 World Championship here.
Is he?
We're very close to it, I think.
I think he'll be up there, but I think Ollie Behrman's probably just clear.
But I think you can't give a drive. I don't think after 1.5 seasons in Formula 2 and you've never really been at the front. I don't know. I wouldn't call Iwasa. I mean, at the front of the championship. You look at last year, he was nowhere.
But Lawson was there for 3 years and he was nowhere.
No.
So your justification is purely biased.
No, it's not. That's experience.
Yeah.
That's 3 years of experience, and he won races in every single one of those years.
He did do well on DTM, to be fair.
And he should have won DTM.
Against some 40-year-old blokes.
He should have won in DTM. It's an absolute knob, didn't crash.
Wasn't it Kelvin van der Linde?
I like him though. That's probably
why.
I don't think. Oh yeah, he won, didn't he?
Can't remember who won.
No, I don't think.
I don't know much about DTM.
Everyone
watched it for a season because Liam Lawson was in it.
And he's doing really well.
Then never watched
I have no clue what's happened this year.
Yeah, no.
I just want to know what
An Albon was in it as well, wasn't he? 2 years ago?
Yeah, when he didn't get a Williams seat.
Yeah. But, yeah, didn't get a Williams
seat. I don't know.
But I think Lawson makes the most sense. Other than that, I would say Colton Herta, if you can get him as super license, because I think he's got enough points now. Depends where's he in the IndyCar Championship.
But also, you're probably biased, but I think overall Liam Lawson...
So I guess I give Logan Sargent the seat.
I think Liam Lawson's a better driver than Nyck De Vries.
Jack Crawford. I'm just going to check the IndyCar, because if Colton Herta has got his super license, do you think he's the best option?
No.
Why not?
I think the problem is that's IndyCar. I'm not slating IndyCar here, but I think...
Herta's 12th, by the way.
I think F2 is probably better than IndyCar. Not better.
That is
no,
such
no.
waffle.
I think it's closer to Formula 1 is what I mean.
You're such a waffle merchant.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not.
You just said it's better than...
No, not better. I mean,
better
it's
than IndyCar.
closer. I think there's a bigger leap between IndyCar to Formula 1.
That is better then. I don't agree with that at all.
In terms of actually adjusting.
I don't know.
Completely different
We've never seen
tyres,
anyone come
completely
from
different
IndyCar
continent.
to F1. Oh, yeah. Completely different continent.
You know what I mean? It's different. They race in one country and they just go around and, I mean, literally one of the tracks is just going around an oval.
Mate, the Indy 500. That's soon, right?
That's already happened, no?
No, that was last year's Indy 500. Marcus Ericsson won it.
Oh, I thought
I can't
really know
remember.
much about it, to be honest. I thought McLaughlin won it this year already, but...
I'll have a look. I'll be honest, this website is so messy. I don't know what's going on. No, Indianapolis 500 is 2 weeks away.
Oh, that's cool then. That's the only one I really care about.
Yeah, well, it's
And
so
also I
long.
want Pat O'Ward to do well. But
Well, Pat O'Ward currently second in the
he's
championship.
going to win it.
6 points off Alex Palau.
He's a quality.
Or Palou, I believe is how you say his name. But both McLaren guys right at the front. Then it's Marcus Ericsson, which says it all really
Do you know
about
what?
the quality.
Daniel Ricciardo could go to IndyCar.
Mate, he'd tear it up. Grosjean's fourth. He was shite in F1. Marcus Ericsson's third. He was shite in F1.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, maybe with the drivers. I just don't think it's... I don't think it's that much of a
Do you know?
big leap. I certainly think they're better than F2.
Okay, no.
No, if you put Grosjean in the ART, he wins every race, doesn't he?
I think in terms of adjusting to the car, because they're different cars, completely different model of tyre.
Well, Christian Lundgaard is 9th, by the way. And I can't remember where he was in F2.
He definitely
But I don't think he was 9th.
No.
Who, Alexander Rossi, he raced in F1, right?
God,
He did half a season, was horrendous. Callum Ilott, 14th in the championship.
Where would Nyck De Vries do in IndyCar? Because this
First.
rate, he's probably going to be there in a bit, so he better be ready.
Yeah, Colton Herta, though, 12th, probably not looking at the sort of season that gets you in
So
F1.
for me, it's between Lawson and Iwasa, and I don't think it makes sense.
Armstrong
to kick out.
17th as well.
I don't think it makes sense to kick out Iwasa already.
I've seen the name Santino Ferrucci. I don't know why I know that name.
I don't know.
I think he's arrested at one point.
Lovely.
Remember him being in the junior series,
what
I
a-
think he was
what a
speeding
great
on a
man.
road or something like that. I seem to
Lovely.
remember something about Santino. But he's in this championship and he's outperforming people. Anyway,
Let's stop there. Before
yeah, I was going to say, we're now just discussing IndyCar. But Nyck De Vries, you think he shouldn't be dropped? Until the
I
end
think
of
he should.
Oh, you think he should be dropped?
If he
When?
doesn't pick up the performances in this
Well, he's going to be
European
dropped
leg,
in the next 3 rounds if he doesn't pick up the performances.
and I
But
think Liam Lawson should replace him.
oh, biased. I think I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Because the Red Bull don't really have any other options right now. You're not going to promote Jehan Daruvala because he's worse than Liam Lawson. Dennis Hauger's not really done enough yet in F2 to merit an F1 seat. I do think he could win the championship this year. That MP and him look quite decent. I think there's a chance he's up there, in which case maybe you consider him for a seat. But I think it's more likely to be Iwasa and Tsunoda next season, in which case bring in Lawson for the short term, and if he absolutely smashes it, then you've got to keep him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for today. If you have enjoyed the video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. And of course, keep the conversation going in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Should Nyck De Vries be dropped, and who should replace him? That's all for today, though. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.